They came from the sky, not in myth, but in stone. Carved into temple walls across Mesopotamia, etched into tablets older than the Bible itself. Beings with wings. Beings with knowledge. Beings that ruled. Ancient texts didn't call them gods. They called them watchers, Anunnaki, sky beings. Not worshipped, but feared. What if the stories of angels descending from heaven weren't spiritual metaphors, but literal events? What if humanity didn't rise on its own, but was engineered? If this sounds like science fiction, you haven't read the ancient records. Because buried under layers of dust and denial lies one of history's darkest secrets. Earth was once ruled by beings not of this world, and we have been lied to, again and again. Before the Bible, before the Greeks, before even Egypt's golden age, there was Sumer, the first known civilization on Earth. Their cuneiform tablets tell stories that mainstream historians still can't explain. These weren't myths of thunder gods or fertility rites. These were records. Records of the Anunnaki, beings from a planet called Nibiru, who came to Earth in search of gold. They didn't just arrive. They terraformed, ruled, and bred a new species. Us. The tablets say they came down in flying ships shining like fire. They created humans not from divine spark, but through genetic manipulation, mixing their DNA with hominids, and they didn't hide their presence. In fact, they made sure we remembered. The towering ziggurats of Ur, the precise star maps carved into stone, the eerily accurate knowledge of the cosmos, of DNA, of mathematics, all long before we were supposed to know it. Who gave us this knowledge? The Sumerians named them Enki, the life giver, Enlil, the commander, Anu, the sky father. These were not just stories, these were lineages, hierarchies, dynasties of beings that interacted, ruled, even interbred with humans. They walked among us, demanded loyalty, and shaped kingship itself. And they weren't alone. Other cultures told the same story, just with different names. The Bible calls them Nephilim and Watchers. Genesis 6:74 says, "The sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them." Giant offspring. Hybrids. Titans, the same giants that later appear in Greek myths. The same watchers that Enoch described as falling from heaven, bringing forbidden knowledge to man. But who were these watchers? Why were they watching? And more importantly, why were they punished? The Book of Enoch, an ancient text excluded from the Bible, goes further. It names the watchers, describes their descent onto Mount Hermon, their pact, their sin teaching humanity secrets of metalwork, sorcery, war, seduction, the kind of knowledge that accelerates civilization, but corrupts the soul. And so, according to Enoch, a war began, not between nations, but between gods. The fallen ones were cast into the abyss, bound beneath the earth. But their legacy, our legacy, remained. Across the globe, the same patterns appear. The Mayan spoke of sky gods descending on beams of light. The Dogon tribe in Africa had knowledge of Sirius Bu, an invisible star, long before modern telescopes. The ancient Vedas of India speak of flying machines called vimanas, used in heavenly battles. Egypt's gods were said to come from the stars, from Orion, from Sirius. Coincidence, or suppressed truth? We are told to believe these are just myths, that ancient people were primitive, that their stories were symbolic. But what if we've been conditioned to ignore what's right in front of us? Let's ask a simple question. Why were ancient civilizations obsessed with the sky? Why did they orient their cities with constellations? Why did they bury their dead facing specific stars? And why, in every single ancient culture, do we find beings that descended from above, brought knowledge, demanded obedience, and then vanished? What if they didn't vanish but went underground? There are legends across the Americas, Asia, and Africa of beings retreating into the earth, of inner worlds, filled with light, technology, and immortal guardians. From the Hopi's ant people to the Buddhist Shambhala, the myths speak of an ancient race biding their time below. And the Anunnaki. The tablets say they promised to return. After all, they never left of their own will. They were overthrown. Some scholars believe the War of the Gods wasn't just metaphor, that a literal conflict between sky factions occurred, leaving Earth scarred. The radioactive ruins in India, the vitrified cities in Scotland, the mysterious glass in ancient Egyptian deserts. These are not natural phenomena. They're signs of advanced weaponry, used thousands of years before history officially began. But here's the part they don't want you to know. The bloodlines of these beings still exist. Royal families tracing lineage to divine right. Secret societies protecting the knowledge of the Watchers. Ancient symbols embedded in modern architecture. Even global institutions marked with the eye, the winged disc, the serpent, echoes of the old gods. Why do you think truth is hidden in plain sight? Because control requires compliance. And compliance begins with forgetting who you are. The Watchers weren't angels. The Anunnaki weren't myths. They were real. They were powerful. And they left behind a blueprint. Not just of civilization, but of control. From religion to royalty, science to war. The systems we live under today are inherited mechanisms. Echoes of ancient rule. And what if we're nearing their return? Many believe the rise of AI, genetic engineering, and space exploration isn't progress. It's a reawakening. We're rediscovering what once was. Following a path we didn't create. Mimicking technologies we inherited unconsciously. It's not evolution. It's reactivation. NASA has publicly admitted it's looking for signs of ancient alien civilizations. Why? Because they already know. The question is no longer if we were visited, but when they'll come back. The signs are everywhere. Global elites obsessed with bloodlines. Rituals echoing Babylonian rites. Underground cities being built at unprecedented speed. And ancient sites, from Göbekli Tepe to Antarctica, being re-examined under military secrecy. This isn't about aliens visiting in flying saucers. It's about a forgotten age where gods ruled openly, shaping our destiny by design. And it's about the reality that their influence never left. It simply went dark. So next time you look up at the stars, don't wonder if someone's out there. Wonder if they've already been here. If they built the foundation of everything you know. And if they're watching still. Because if the ancient records are right, 2025 isn't just another year. It may be the year the Watchers rise again. And this time they won't come as gods. They'll come as our creators. So stay awake, stay questioning, and never stop asking who really rules Earth.